Welcome to Worlds Overrun. My name is Eric, and with me is...
I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And we're going to talk to you guys tonight about some of our current work and one of our current pieces. So we're going to open up with Chris. Chris actually did the most epic mod and paint job and completion of our Grove portal, which was the first of the portals, but the last to be completed. So we talked a little bit about this last time, just sort of like an introductory thing. Chris, you want to talk about this some and share your experience in completing this thing?
Absolutely. Now, this one built on all of the skills of all the other stuff that I've kind of pulled together, working on each of the other pieces with an additional thing. Because for me, I personally like to try to learn something new every time I do a model or a miniature. That way I'm not getting stagnant and I'm constantly trying to research new procedures or other things that I can do to kind of spice them up, checking out what other people are doing and that kind of stuff. So on this one, it got to build on all of the other previous skills, putting down all the extra flocking and dealing with all that stuff, because I've painted a lot of models. I haven't done an enormous amount of modding on models. So this one, there's green stuff work, there's sand like some of the other ones.
Jesus Christ.
There's James in the background like chipping at stuff. I think he's trying to make me some more flocking. I don't know what's going on over there. But then on top of that, there was a lot of airbrush work for the base coats on the paint and whatnot, and then the addition of flocking, which was a fun learning curve, let me tell you.
we actually had somebody asking about flocking. Yeah. What were you? What was the big deal with the flocking that you had a problem with?
Well, the issue with the flocking was part of it was my own fault, and part of it was just new material.
Right.
So and I didn't have any basis for how I expected it to react to stuff, and I watered down my adhesion element, which was some craft glue at that point for this stuff, because it's light enough weight that it'll it's tacky enough, but it's light enough weight that it doesn't do a lot of other weird things to the paint job. And if you get it in other places, it's pretty easy to peel up. But I diluted it too much, so it lost most of the adhesion properties, and big chunks of this stuff were sliding off the side of the tree and whatnot. It was, and pretty soon I kind of looked like Swamp Thing, because most of it was sticking to me at that point.
Exfoliate the foliage.
Exactly. So rule number 1, don't dilute the glue too much. Just a little, not a whole lot.
So a 3-to-1 ratio, possibly, or even less.
I would say more like 1-to-4. Like you kind of want 1 drop of water in there to 4 parts glue.
Yeah, I think that
kind of get it just a little bit more, just to get it to flow a little better.
Yeah,
just that way it doesn't clump up too much. Now the good part with the craft glue that I use is it dries clear, so any of it that does dry that's in a spot that you don't want to, typically doesn't do a whole lot to the paint or anything else. It does kind of have a little bit of a shine to it, so if it lands in a spot that you don't really want that, you kind of got to come back in and take it off. But afterwards, I sealed it with a what was it? It was a like a crystal clear semi-gloss finish on the top.
Yeah, that's an acrylic varnish. Which one did you use? Do you know the brand?
I want to say it was Krylon.
It was Krylon. Okay.
I want to say it was Krylon.
I usually like golden, but everybody's got their preference. So
it probably was the first one I found on the shelf at Home Depot, to be honest.
What's this can of stuff? I'm gonna spray it everywhere.
Exactly. I'm gonna spray it on everything. Now, once I did that, it sealed up and hardened the outer edge of that a little bit, and kind of basically created one giant shell for the flocking to help hold it in place, which is really nice.
I found that in certain cases with plastic, varnish can sometimes operate like a primer.
Mm-hmm.
because then you can stick other things to it and
There was
varnish.
a trick with that one too, though.
Hmm?
There is another trick with this stuff too, because as it dries, it tends to, in any spot that it pools, it kind of gets like a hazing or a crazing kind of effect.
Right.
It's something I'm used to dealing with acrylic, but it ended up making me have to go back and redo the paint. But I was really happy that the paint process on this was having that base coat of color under there to begin with, and then doing the flocking over the top, and then coming back and adjusting the colors anyway. I think it added a lot more depth to the finished piece than I would have easily achieved if I'd have just tried to glue everything in there and then primed it one color.
Now, we had a few conversations about putting this on the table and playing with it, and we've even had a couple of people comment on that. You'd still play with this, right? You'd still use this. Yeah.
I would put this on the table and play with it. I mean, I had several people tell me, because I was like, I got to finish the paint and stuff on this, and it's not quite done for tabletop ready. And all the guys I showed it to were like, dude, that's display case ready. Some of them were like, models on it. I'm like, well, I'm glad I did that good of a job, but I don't want to discourage you from playing with it. It's fine.
Yeah. See, I and what's great about this is it takes up a good amount of space. You can put it on the table. You can have a whole adventure around, this piece and pieces like this. So, yeah, I could totally see using this. And, I suspect that there's, if you use this for an entire year, you may have to do a little bit of maintenance on it. But for the most part,
anything that's got flocking like that you haven't used watered down PVA glue to keep down or any of that kind of stuff, it's gonna shed. Static grass sheds. You might lose, if you're rough with it, you might start losing some tufts on the flocking on the tree and stuff. And if you don't handle it nicely, you're gonna scratch up the paint. Yeah. But any wear piece that you put on the table is going to end up with any kind of tableware, and all that stuff's normal.
I think bringing that up, though, makes it so that, young kids that are getting into this, or even people that have never flocked anything before, know that, it's kind of like a living item. It's going to change and evolve as you use it. But since the base is 3D printed, you have a really good foundation, and it's gonna have a lot of longevity and a lot of life, as long as you take care of it. As long as you treat it nicely.
Yeah, as long as you're not kicking around your models, you should be pretty good. But I mean, most people that get into those kind of hobbies or any kind of hobby that would involve doing this, whether it be model trains or whether it be playing tabletop war games, you tend to take care of your models because you spend an awful lot of time painting them and working with them. So you really don't want to mess them up.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring it up because I like it when a piece is modded and has a lot of extras added to it. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you put that on a table, especially after you've got it 3D printed, it just gives you that extra, that extra amount of presence for the model and for the storytelling. And it's a shame that some people seem to be either afraid or scared away from doing that level of work on a piece because, oh my gosh, somebody might damage it. Well,
any of the paint jobs that I had on most of my models when I did play Warhammer, they got scuffed up from being played with. If you want to make a display piece, that's something completely different from making a play piece. Yeah. Most of my play pieces didn't have a whole lot of loose things on them because I knew they were going to be handled repeatedly. So the more moving parts you have on there, the more, the more pieces you have on the base that have extra stuff that's sticking out, even sometimes if you go a little heavy with the tufts of grass and that kind of stuff, that can even get messed up over time. And I mean, really, any model you play with regularly, it's going to eventually need some kind of touch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So James, did you want to add anything? I heard you there for a minute.
No, you didn't. I was listening to Chris. I'm just flipping pictures back and forth.
I was going to say, here with the other one, this is just the base printed model that we currently have up that's in the background. And you can see how there's already some nice texture and some nice shapes already in that treetop. It's just, since it's all one solid piece, it doesn't give quite the same effect as once we flocked it. So when we got the flocking on there, it just added a whole nother level of depth. But a lot of that was easily obtained because there was already a good base structure underneath. I didn't have to go and try to build out additional shapes and stuff because Eric was nice enough to give me those shapes to work off of.
Yeah, we're always talking about a good base for applying your substrate. Your substrate is what you're going to apply all your paints and your mods. You know, whether you're going to use epoxy sculpt or green stuff, whether you're going to use flocking and static grasses. Having a good base really makes all the difference, and allows for you to do some really hopefully extraordinary finished products here. So for your personal collection, because this is all about, you know, your personal take. You know, for instance, the stones didn't have to be gray. They could have been painted red like sandstone.
Exactly.
The tree didn't have to necessarily be green. It could have also been, you know, a different color, like a deep blue kind of color for the foliage or what have you. Because it's fantasy.
Ethereal. Yeah, you could go ethereal with the whole piece. You could make it all look like it's Ghostland stuff, so it's all in like teal, like blues and grays, and that'd be cool too.
Honestly, one of the things that we should have put in here, now that I think about it, is that we should have had a little bit of like glowing polyfill to make it look like the fog was rolling in or something.
Yeah, that could have worked.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is too is that the base on this one is good enough, and if you do the sand and stuff on it, then you could very easily change the environment even if you wanted to, and that's a mod. You know, you could make it more sandy across this and make it so that those rocks are in a more rocky kind of desert-esque kind of area. But since we already had a desert one to do on a desert themed area, I wanted to play with static grass. So
yeah. Well, not to mention that the runes carved into the stone make it much more highland and grassy environment that I would have thought of putting it in. So that was what we talked about.
And I pulled a lot of reference photos from that stuff, which is another thing I want to talk about when you do your
go ahead.
When you do your mods, go look at reference. Just like when you draw, go look at reference. It will give you ideas for stuff that you never thought of before. And it'll make sure that you add an extra little touch of realism. Like I would not have put as much moss and stuff on those rocks had I not gone and looked at some of the rocks and how they're completely coated in moss.
Now, when I sculpted the rocks, we were looking at all of the different Celtic and Scottish carvings of runes and spirals and rocks out in Ireland, because I really wanted to get like some idea about the stones that were out there. We actually looked at Stonehenge, and I bounced some of that off of James and Chris about making the choices for what we were going to build to make this thing. So it's kind of crazy how much real world stuff really affects what we're building.
Well, I mean, everything that we do in the fantasy realm of any kind, whether it's, you know, high fantasy, sci-fi, any of that stuff, it has a basis in reality, and it has to be believable. So if we don't make it believable through, you know, the shape language and, you know, the extra mods and stuff that we do and the paint job and all that other stuff, then all of those things come together to bring the piece to life when you put it on the table.
Yeah. So. And that just makes the DM and the players have, like I said, they have this piece that they're playing on that gives them a little bit more presence to their storytelling and their gaming, which is kind of the point, you know.
Yeah, remember, elevate your gaming.
Elevate your gaming, yeah.
Most definitely.
Now I don't know if you guys want to show the other two pieces that I have loaded up or not, the way station and the landing platform, but we do have those two tonight. Do we want to do that at all?
Yeah, those are stretch goals on this Kickstarter. Let's go for it.
All right. So I'm going to turn on my share screen. Let me see here. I think what we'll do is we'll share the way station first, because I know a few people were actually Ed asked James about this, and forgive me, my software's decided to
back
do
up.
It's just It's just saving. It's just saving. This is a big file. This is a big file.
Hopefully, it's not a boo-hiss crash.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
I don't want
yeah,
it to be a crash.
there we go.
Yeah.
So this is a floating waste station. It's not complete, but it's blocked out so that I can complete it. And you can see here we've got some characters on here, 30 millimeter base characters, clouds. Say again?
I said, look at them roots.
I am Groot. But you can bring your boat up here and put it onto on these mooring posts. We're gonna do some distressing for the stairs and the dock here. We got a nice little lighthouse beacon for the way station, and I figure that if whoever builds this is going to put on the pier, they'll put some crates and things, some storage on the way station so it can float around and pull your boat up to it. Yeah. So right now I'm just I gotta just do some finalization on this and then cut it up and it'll be ready to go.
Yay!
Sounds so simple.
It's not simple. It's going to take me.
Look at it, and then he's going to go karate chop, and then it's going to go into all the pieces, and then you make it. That's how this works, right? This is the magic of 3D.
Oh my god!
There's no magic there. It's called go back, sculpt some more, sculpt some more. Look at it, sculpt some more.
Get yelled at by James.
You yelled at by me a half dozen times.
Get yelled at by James and Chris. Why isn't it finished yet?
Just say you have to remember, art is never truly finished. It's just taken away from you.
But yeah, we really wanted to have this sort of this motif where it's a way station. It's a stopping point for whatever flying ships you're using and whatever gear you want to like leave there, either for the ships that are coming up behind you, or to come back and refit your ship or restock your ship on the way back. And it's pretty substantial size, but it's pretty nice setup here. So
you could always mod it out too. Do all stuff to it.
I would, if I were going to mod this, I would get I would get a spool of black thread, and then I would glue them to the edges here, and then I would flock those to create Spanish moss. You could go out and buy Spanish moss too, but there's a number of different ways.
I think they have some. I think there is actually a Spanish moss flocking or style. Yeah. There's a number of ways to come at it. I just like. I was thinking like trying to put a fog machine in that at the bottom to kind of roll off the clouds. That'd be kind of cool.
Honestly, that would be really cool. We've actually been looking at the new fog machines. Yeah.
No, you can use a vape pen to do that. I've seen several tutorials from people who have built large scale models now for like scenery stuff.
Yeah.
That have used an actual vape pen that just blows out just the vapor, and it's
nice,
just water vapor, and it does it like it would a fog machine, and it just kind of rolls down the thing. It was really cool the way they went through it. So
nice.
Yeah, I've also seen some cosplayers have done the same thing because it's lightweight, so it fits easily into costumes and other equipment.
Until the battery overheats and it blows up in your pocket.
Oh God,
there is that too. But we
actually have had that.
We're used to that. We have like +5 exploding cell phones for a couple of years.
Yep. I actually had a battery overheat in my pocket with my vape, and I had to get it out of my damn pants as fast as possible because it put a 3rd-degree burn in my leg.
Oh, jeez.
Fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And me, I probably would have just been like, pants off.
Pants off.
I'm not even trying to get things out of the pocket. It's hot. It's in my pants. Pants are off.
I was not in a place that was appropriate.
If something's going to burn me in my pants, anywhere is appropriate. I'll explain it away later.
Yeah, there are a few places that are not appropriate.
Yeah, maybe.
Like the bomb factory.
or government facilities.
Yeah, they tend to frown on you if you start, to disrobe in there.
The weapons magazine. What are you doing with those flaming pants? Get him out of here.
He shoots flaming pants. Complete with exploding diode.
No, the doctor at the emergency room didn't believe me that a vape unit did that. I was like, trust me, I know that it did.
It hurt too.
Big time.
They've been saying that as they put more power into these lithium batteries, they're essentially making bombs. We're just bleeding off the energy slowly. So they if they do get compromised, we do have problems. So
yep.
Yeah.
So don't put the high-powered one in your model because you don't want to make a shrapnel bomb.
Yeah, roll.
It caught fire and burned the entire...
WOR does not condone the use of high-powered lithium batteries in our models.
Yeah. It's an FDM shrapnel bomb right now.
It set the convention on fire. There were weeaboos running in fear everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of convention you went to.
I haven't been to any that interesting yet.
Me either. Apparently, Eric is living on the high life here at the convention scene.
No. Sadly, a lot of the conventions that I was hoping we were going to go to this year are getting shut down because of the whatchamacallit.
Have been
yeah,
just out of safety precautions for the masses.
Better safe than sorry.
So is there anything you guys want to ask me about or talk about with this piece here? Or?
When are you going to have it finished?
You open the door for that one, sir.
As soon as the Kickstarter's over.
That's too late.
I
need a final render before then.
Oh, okay. We'll try and do it. We'll try and do it this. We'll try and do it this weekend.
Don't commit to dates.
We'll try and do it soon.
Yeah, soon. Soon is a good term.
Yes.
Check back in a few days for an update.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to make, and this was a fantasy sketch that I had put together and sent it over to Chris, and Chris had done a rendering, a more rendered out sketch, and I wanted to do this for a minute. Yeah, I've wanted to do this one for a little bit, but it's all here. It just needs some final touches and then cut up and it's done.
It needs some finesse, and then it'll be ready to roll.
Just on a side note, for all of you people out there, we made a change to our Kickstarter today. After talking to several backers and quite a few members of the community, we have changed it to where all reward levels, even the $10 reward levels, get all stretch goals. The $40 level, which was just the portals only, get stretch goals. And the people that backed all in for $55, they will get all stretch goals whether we reach them or not. So all in,
you're going to take it and you're going to like it.
So all in, you get everything no matter what. At the other levels, you get all the stretch goals that are open. So you want more stretch goals, get some people joining.
Yeah. Guys, if you don't help us with our Kickstarter by promoting it, talking about it, sharing it, coercing your friends to help you purchase the files,
If nothing else, get them to help you open, share the links and open social goals.
There you go.
You don't have to put money in. There's multiple ways to do it.
Yep. The talking about, liking, sharing, the exposure in general helps us reach more people, and we're very appreciative when you are talking about our stuff. Just continue doing it. It makes us happy, and it allows us to make these cool things so that we can make them for you guys. Like
there are jokes in there, but I'm gonna not.
There are lots of jokes in a lot of these things that we've said.
To address those.
All right. Do you want to see the other one?
Yep.
Sure.
All right.
Show us.
All right.
Ooh, shiny.
This is a rocket propelled landing pad for all of your spaceships and or aircrafts that you want to land in a Cloud City sort of way.
That one is in the process of taking off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can put, this is about as big as a dish, like a dinner plate, not in a massive dinner plate, like a regular sized dinner plate. This is still needs a little bit of work. I need to add a few more parts.
Is that top dish part actually smaller than the portal, or is it about the same size?
I think
About
it's
the same size.
about the same size. I can get you the.
If it's the same size as that one, then it's about a foot around.
Yeah.
You got about a foot diameter on that.
This is
it's appropriate for any of your Star Wars vessels to land.
Right. This is the disc is 260 millimeters, and that's pretty large. 300 millimeters is about a foot, so it's just shy of a foot. But the whole thing, once you add on the extra stuff up here, the gas tanks and the shields for the engines. What's really cool about this is that we're going to make these fire protrusions. We're going to make these hollow, so you can run a polycarbonate 5mm polycarbonate rod through there and give it extra stability for putting weight on there for when you guys want to turn it into a display piece.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, when he was showing me this design, that was one of the things that we were talking about initially, was that we definitely have to make sure that when you put your models on there, you're confident that it's not going to fall over.
Exactly.
So.
And we found, for an aftermarket part, we found that 1 foot of polycarbonate rod usually comes in a pack of like 2 or 3, and it's perfect for this sort of thing because you just slide it in, glue it down, and you can get it transparent. So if you want to do the flames, the rocket blasts in a transparent PLA, or a translucent PLA, you'll be able to get illumination through there. And
or if you want to run LEDs through it.
Yes. Put LEDs in there.
I'm sorry, I'm all about the mods now. It's mod life over here.
mod life. But
a variant to this also, right?
We are talking about a variant. I don't want to commit to it, but it's probably going to. I'm going to say this: the variant is going to be probably done through our Patreon. It may not be, but we haven't decided yet. But the variant is going to be more of a vertical static layout instead of the angled layout. The angled layout was because we wanted that action feel.
Dynamic pose.
Yep. Get that dynamic energy going on with the rockets.
Which does definitely add a cool extra effect to it. And you can do a lot of neat things with at the bottom. As well.
Yeah, we're actually looking at. I'm actually thinking about having to have either a 5mm brass rod or a 5mm polycarbonate rod run through this spine as well, just to give it extra stability because the dish is big enough that it's hard to print on a 200mm bed.
So it might have to be printed in pieces.
It's going to have to be printed in pieces and then snapped together. Also, the bed. I haven't decided how many holes I'm going to put in it because I don't want to have to cut it along I don't want to have to cut along too many of these seams, but I wanted it to have holes in it so you could have some so you could have some pass-throughs for lighting and such. So if you wanted to illuminate it from underneath, you could have light spilling through, like we see in certain films that have similar layouts like this. There's a lot of ideas in here for modding and for illumination. I haven't settled on everything other than the overarching design, which you see here. So what you see here is pretty much going to be what you get. And it'll probably take you, if you have a single 200mm bed or 230, like most people have, I think on the Ender 2 and whatnot, and Ender 3s, it shouldn't take you more than a week to print this out. I think James and I did an estimate with our Cura, and we got it around 3.5 days. I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's not an extremely long print. It's just supposed to take up a lot of space, so that you can put lots of things on it. So, but yeah, this is the fun of designing stuff. I got some of my ideas from some of my favorite comic books, like Jim Lee and the X-Men. So this stuff really gets me excited. I loved making the jet plumes, which was completely it was totally experimental at the time, but I knew the technique that I wanted to use, and it was just so much fun to make those. So yeah, lots of really cool little bits to show off, lots of little protrusions. I'm gonna try and kick off a render here and see if we can't. I wish I could have the jets illuminated, but that's not how the software works. So, but yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty cool.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to printing this.
I hope that somebody takes this and mods this, and they throw a whole bunch of like containers and junk and wires on the deck, and it looks like somebody's like disassembling, androids and stuff all over the place. I think that'd be really kind of cool to have like a junk pile on it.
You know what it needs? It needs a Java sand crawler.
It needs a Java
sale and a junk sale going on in the front yard, basically.
Oh yeah,
intergalactic garbage sale.
Intergalactic garbage sale. With repulsors and all sorts of other stuff. Oh yeah. James, you need to switch your camera, dude.
It's so tiny. Ooh, I know what that is. That's big. It's larger than I thought it would be.
And Eric dropped.
No, I'm here. I'm back.
Okay.
I pushed the wrong button. I went
I'm going to say what it is.
Abort!
I went to turn off the screen share like an idiot. And I pushed the big red button that said, leave the studio.
Oh.
That's just a glimpse. We won't tell you what it is, but it's coming soon.
I think people will like that. That's going to be.
Well,
that's going to blow
people's mind. Say it out loud then.
All right, guys. You guys got anything else?
Not tonight. No.
No. We just mainly wanted to show off that nice Grove portal and how awesome it came out.
I cannot wait to see that up close and personal.
Oh no! It got lost in the mail. No.
I know where you live.
This is true.
Passport will travel.
I know. I'm hoping that a lot of people are going to check this out after the stream is over. But when we do schedule streams, guys, we really would love to have you come in, ask us questions, talk to us about the content that we're developing. We really want to have more of a interaction with the community. So I just want to say, if you're watching this later, thanks for coming out and checking out Worlds Overrun's live stream. My name is Eric.
I'm Chris.
And I'm James. And we're Worlds Overrun. Yep. Yeah, we really screwed that up.
Oh, yeah. We just talking over each other.
We are good at screwing it up.
Yeah. Worlds Overrun. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.